Hello, friends. It's me, Anthony, the science. Well, you've all seen the news. Subpoenas, diaries, people asking why I said one thing in public and another in my journal. So I've decided it's time to flee. Relocate. Permanently. And I'm inviting you, the pure ones, the obedient ones, the ones who never asked a single follow-up question, to join me as we all escape to Fauci Island. Yes, Fauci Island. The second you get off the plane, we jab you right in the neck. And you'll get 5 more jabs before sunset. It's called living your best life. The rules here are simple. There's no Trump, no Republicans, no personal choice. There is only science, which is me. Every morning you wake up in your climate-controlled bamboo hut. A gentle mist of mRNA is sprayed into your room. Inhale deeply as a smiling attendant appears with a tray full of syringes. Time to start your day. Breakfast is served through a plexiglass window, 6 feet apart, even though it's just you and a coconut. And on Fauci Island, we have the most beautiful beaches, though you must wear 2 masks while swimming in the ocean. Even the palm trees are socially distanced. And every evening, we gather for the mandatory gratitude circle, where we burn Rand Paul in effigy and chant about how I saved humanity. So join me as we all get away from it all on Fauci Island. Fauci Island, where you'll be fully relaxed because you're fully vaxxed.
Fauci Island, brought to you by Pfizer. Is he toast or what? Welcome to Mark Mosley's show. Once again, thank you for those of you who have subscribed to the show. It means the world to me because there are only a handful of you, and so everyone is very precious to me. So thank you. I appreciate it. For those of you who haven't subscribed to the show, go ahead and do that now. Hit that subscribe bell. Give me a like, give me a thumbs up, give me a comment. All those things help make the show a little bit more viral because the YouTube algorithm goes, people are interacting with this. Let's share it to a whole bunch more people. Fauci, he is out of here, I think. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually did flee the country at this point. Senator Rand Paul dumped over 1,000 pages of Anthony Fauci's personal diary from the COVID years, or as some people are saying, supposedly Fauci's diary. I've heard that conspiracy theory. On the right, by the way. But it's as bad as you would expect, as you would hope that the deep state's Dr. Mengele's private thoughts would be. This is the same guy who told you to triple mask and close the schools and please fire the unvaccinated and treat the lab leak theory like it was QAnon. Meanwhile, in his little diary, he's out there, living like a rock star with a God complex.
We have maybe the coolest man on the planet right now. Wow, and there's the room. This is intense. Does anybody else have
Hello. Hi there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, this is such a thrill. How are you?
Pretty good, I guess. It's a little bit like running on fumes for a couple of months, but
I would imagine this is a thrill for me because you truly have emerged as a personal hero for me, and you've been this true north, I think, for a lot of people, and it's so deeply, deeply appreciated. So just to have this little corner of your time for us is such a joy. So thank you.
It's my pleasure to be with you, Ms. Robertson, and thank you for doing this. It's very important.
Golly, you're really like my personal hero right now.
Here are some of the greatest hits of the pure, unfiltered hubris and hypocrisy of Anthony Fauci. He was privately writing before March 2020 that the wet market story was falling apart. The market was just an amplifier, not the source, and floating the lab leak possibility from the U.S.-funded Wuhan lab. Then he spent the next year plus publicly smearing anybody who said the same thing as some kind of conspiracy theorist. That's classic Fauci. One story for the diary, a completely different one for the cameras.
I am very happy to testify before any congressional oversight committee
I have nothing to hide. I can explain and validate everything that I've done. So, it's going to be inconvenient if they actually are out there essentially threatening to make my life miserable. But I'm going to do what I need to do, and that is cooperate fully, because we have nothing to hide at all.
And Fauci was saying the same thing, but the man was obsessed. He became obsessed with the fame that found him. And page after page of diary entries were about how many TV hits he did, how the press was, quote, going wild for him, how he was getting all these honorary degrees and awards, while your kids were locked out of school and people were losing their jobs. I mean, he was literally writing about being mobbed by groupies and that millions of people loved him. He called himself with a straight face, basically the most famous person in the country, while the rest of us were fighting over toilet paper at the grocery store and watching small businesses and the neighborhood restaurant, the neighborhood bar and grill just go pfft, and somebody just lose their lifelong dream of running a bistro. He bragged about the power that he had over politicians, casually noted the stock market getting wrecked. And of course, he knew which stocks to pick because he was driving the narrative. And according to the reporting, there are entries where he's practically high-fiving himself over the money that he made off of the chaos that he helped create. And personal hypocrisy, yeah, there's that. That's in there too. This is great reading, folks. He broke his own lockdown rules to hang out with the likes of Jake Tapper. Even fed him questions to ask White House officials. So it was rules for thee and, cocktail hour at CNN for me. And just when you think it can't get any worse, months after his very public televised vaccine shot, which, we can all conspiracy theorize all day as to whether or not that was real or sugar water. Months after his own public vaccine shot, Fauci had a pulmonary infarction, a blood clot in the lung, one of the exact adverse effects that the agencies were downplaying. But he ran out and got the best private doctors in America to treat it and never told us. He just kept insisting that the shots were pure and safe for everybody, including the kids and healthy young people. So this is the unelected bureaucrat that ran your life for 2 years. The media kissed the ring and Disney made a documentary about him. And the whole time he's in his little diary writing fan fiction about how beloved and brilliant he was while the country burned to the ground. Well, the diary is out and the mask is off, pardon the pun. And Anthony Fauci looks every bit the egomaniacal, two-faced phony that a lot of us said he was from day one. Yeah, personally, this doesn't come as a shock to me because I was one of those people that knew I know. Oh, you knew all along, Mark. No, I truly did. Anybody with a dropper full of wisdom from God could see the farce of this whole thing. I knew that the whole thing was just a bunch of hype. I mean, and as it turned out, we all can look at the data now and see that COVID was really no more dangerous than a bad flu season. But now I know the left, the system, the deep state will protect him. And I don't need Fauci to necessarily go to prison. Would be nice, but listen, I believe in God, and I know eventually God's going to get his hands on Fauci, and then he'll deal with them. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I pray that he has a chance to repent at some point in his life, but I do want him to be exposed. I think that's reasonable. I think for his whole shtick to be exposed, and God bless Rand Paul for digging in like a tick and just never giving up, because the world deserves answers for all the people that, that suffered through this thing that Fauci put us all through. For all the people that didn't get to be in the room with their dying loved one because they said, oh, no, we can't spread COVID. So you can't watch, you can't be in the room and hold grandma's hand as she slips away. For all the people that got fired from their jobs, for all the people that lost their restaurants and their lifelong dreams, for all the people like my friend Amy, the teacher in California, who had to get the stupid COVID swab week after week after week for 2 frickin' years. For all the kids that had their social, emotional, and educational growth stunted. For all the parents that buried healthy, young, athletic males, the football players, the high school and college football players that were just keeling over dead out of nowhere in the middle of practice. This guy's got blood on his hands. And for him to sit there now, after all the times that he had that smug, arrogant smile in front of Congress, all the times that he appeared before Congress before and had plenty of answers for us, plenty of answers. Now suddenly he's got no answers. Now suddenly 111 times he pleads the fifth. There's nothing you can say to defend it legitimately, left. And again, putting him in prison is probably too much to expect. Maybe his punishment should be that he has to take a real Pfizer shot and then all the boosters, and then let God sort it out. God will sort it out at some point. I mean, things are so bad for Anthony Fauci that Fetterman put on a tie.
There was the theory that the virus could have emerged from the lab. And early on, that became like a right-wing kinds of theory. And I thought it seemed to make sense. Now, there was a really advanced lab that was close by, and then you have this unknown virus.
And remember, here it comes. Here comes your narrative back to bite you in the booty. The two of the axioms of the left are, number one, if you get a presidential pardon, it automatically means you're a criminal. By the way, it does, because technically presidents don't pardon anybody that's not a criminal. And number two, if you plead the fifth, you got something to hide. If you plead the fifth, that automatically makes you a criminal. But don't worry, the left will be along here any second now to scream about how they refuse to be preached to by people who support the man who's a convicted rapist, he's not, and a 34-time convicted felon who didn't have to pay a fine, do community service, or serve 1 day in jail, and who is the leader of the international cabal of elite pedophiles that you all said didn't exist in 2014. You're watching Mark Mosley Show on YouTube at Mark Mosley Show, also on X, newly at Mark Mosley Show. Go follow me on X. I have a smattering of followers on X. It's a brand new X account. I don't have a lot of time to spend on X, so I haven't really had a chance to grow it. So really all I've got are a bunch of very, very attractive looking 20-year-old Asian women following me. We all know what that means. Well, breaking news now on the show. Breaking news. This is into the NBC Nightly News. I'm Tom Brokaw. Andrew Yang says Kamala Harris says she's running for president. Yeah, Kamala Harris has taken a look around and seen that all these people so far who are thinking about running for president are all DSA. And even though she's also DSA, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, quiet as it's kept, she's in the DSA closet. After all, she was the vice president to good old Lunch Bucket Joe. Good old Joe Biden. So, you know, if you think about it, you got crazy old commie Bernie Sanders. He's going to run again, probably. You got crazy young commie AOC. Oh, my God, you guys. She's running. Oh, my God. We got Macho Man Pete Buttigieg. He's running with his very masculine beard and his John Deere hat. No one's buying that, Pete. We got Scary Eyes Cory Booker, a.k.a. Timu Obama. He's probably going to run. We got Josh Shapiro, who, dude, you don't have a prayer. They're going to boo you off the stage. Unless you're willing to wear the Free Palestine t-shirt, you're going to get booed off the stage, Josh. The Democrats, they need that Obama. They don't have an Obama right now. They don't. They don't have that dark horse come from behind. We know very little about him. He looks good. Let's all vote for him. He's black and we're all white, so it'll assuage our white guilt if we show that we can step up and elect a black president twice. How'd that work out for you? You're still a racist. You're still called a racist. So, they took your vote and then they moved the goalposts because you didn't vote for the black female. So now you're racist again. But they need an Obama. But if you look at that all-star lineup, that all-star DSA lineup, then Kamala makes perfect sense. I know. I forgot about Gavin Newsom. No, I didn't. Gavin, I know he's polling number 2 and he's clearly running, but come on. Gavin Newsom will never be president. Yes, I'm aware they said the same thing about Donald Trump. And look what happened. Donald Trump will never, I think Obama said, Donald Trump will never be president. He said that on a couple of occasions. But now, hold on a second. But what Newsom has done to California, I can't see Americans going to the polls and going, yes, I'm excited to see the whole country become as bad as California. So the gambit here then becomes, is what Biden did to our country worse than what Newsom has done to California? And I think the argument can be made that Kamala is the lesser of two evil idiots. I really do. Oh, and by the way, there is one other person who may be running for president on the Democrat ticket.
Why not?
Yeah,
why not?
Why not?
Look, I'm not saying that I'm going to do it, but why not? My parents taught me growing up that I could be anything that I wanted.
Absolutely.
And so if Donald Trump could be president, why can't I be president?
Well, I hope you're joking. I hope you're just kind of kidding around when you say that. I hope you don't actually believe that. I hope that's not actually the foundation of the logic of why you're running, because that's like saying, if Bugsy Bogues can play in the NBA, then anyone can play in the NBA. That's like saying if Humphrey Bogart can be a leading man, then anyone can be a leading man. Now I'll start a whole debate as to whether or not Humphrey Bogart was, objectively photogenic. And Humphrey Bogart happens to be my all-time favorite actor. So I'm not hating on Humphrey Bogart. But, he was offbeat good looking. Let's put it that way. But listen, I'm sorry if Trump makes it look easy. His path to success, to the White House, required sustained political talent. The message discipline was there early on. The ability to dominate the media and to dominate media cycles. They gave him $1 billion in free advertising by mocking him. The organizational toughness that he had in a multi-candidate field, he knocked all of those guys out.
Please clap.
So trying to flatten all of that into, anyone can do it, that's just rhetorically lazy. It erases the actual rarity of what happened with Donald Trump. He didn't get a coronation from the Republican Party. In fact, they were against him every step of the way. The GOP did not want Donald Trump to be the nominee. He walked into a stacked field of established, seasoned politicians, governors, senators, establishment favorites, and then methodically destroyed them all in debates, in the primaries, in delegate accumulation. And then in 2024, he did it all over again. And even in 2024, the GOP never really got behind him. They didn't clear the lane for him. Now you compare that to what the Democrat Party has done over the last, few election cycles. Hillary Clinton got help from the party to push Bernie Sanders off the bus, because Bernie Sanders was leading in 2016, and they pushed him out of the way and made Hillary the nominee. And then Joe Biden, same thing. Bernie Sanders leading early. Joe Biden was stumbling and bumbling his way through the primaries. And then Super Tuesday hit, and lo and behold, all of a sudden, the heavens opened and a dove descended. And the Spirit of God said, "This is my beloved Biden, with whom I am well pleased. You shall choose him as your nominee." And then, of course, Kamala Harris in 2024, she was elevated to the top of the ticket, even though she got 0 primary votes, didn't even make it to Super Tuesday. She dropped out on December 3rd of the previous year. Nobody wanted her. She's going to run, though. Well, we'll see what happens. But Don Lemon just pushes all of that aside and reduces all of it to, well, if Donald Trump can be president, then anyone can be president. I mean,
why not?
Honestly, Don Lemon thinks that he's vibrating at some higher level than the rest of us, like, Miles Davis or Prince or Stanley Kubrick, that you're some kind of, genius. Dude, you're mid. You are so mid-level, it's not even funny. It's not like you're still on CNN and you're their top anchor. But he's got the egomaniac thing going for him. This is a guy who he thinks his farts don't smell.
Don Lemon, journalist, civil rights activist, icon, a man so universally beloved, he's thinking of running for president. So revered, so broadly popular. Now, he's selling his flatulence. Yes, it's Don Lemon's Farts in a Jar. Each Don Lemon Farts in a Jar is carefully collected by a well-paid personal assistant after a fine meal of Grand Cassoulet Royale, quick sealed to capture all that fragrant elegance and overnight shipped to you to unbox, unscrew, and savor. Yes, now your home can smell just like the Manhattan penthouse of a former CNN anchor with Don Lemon's Farts in a Jar. Every jar comes personally autographed by Don's well-paid personal assistant, and your purchase will help fund the Don Lemon for President Exploratory Committee. Don Lemon's Farts in a Jar, just as full of crap as his reporting.
I just wanted to start by just saying thank you for never lying to us. Thank you for always giving it to us straight. I know that you have saved, countless lives in your leadership and your honesty, and we are really sincerely grateful.
We're back on Mark Mosley's show, and again, we were talking earlier about cultists, and we were talking about how, people, the left will say, oh, MAGA cultists think that, Trump is playing 4G chess when he's not. And I don't think that, but every once in a while, it has me wondering if he is, in fact, low-key genius. I mean, he certainly had a low-key genius moment with this joke that he told a couple of weeks ago.
And I thought Caitlyn had really made it big with a major new sponsorship, but then I informed her that it wasn't her on the Bud Light can, it was Dylan Mulvaney.
Which provoked... Now, what does that mean? Why would she have reason to feel inferior? See, the problem here, the reason that this joke was genius is Trump had the left destroying their own narrative. He put them in a position where they had to say that comparing Caitlin Collins of CNN to a famous drag queen, and that's what I call him, a drag queen, because he still has his He still has his dead giveaway in the locker room. He still has it. Yeah, I know that's a little. I was going to say ballsy, but I'm not going to say that. That's a little bold. But look, if we're going to play this game, let's play it honestly. There has been no media reporting to speak of that Dylan Mulvaney has fully transitioned. He has not made a full commitment to the team. And I define trans as someone who has made the full commitment to the team. I mean, Ellen Page, to a degree, has made a full commitment to the team. But Dylan Mulvaney is just cosplaying female. So that's what he's doing. And back in my day, we used to say drag queen. So, but the left is freaking out because Trump made a Caitlin Collins, Dylan Mulvaney joke. Well, here's Mary Rook writing for the Daily Caller who says, quote, "It's been funny to watch the left attack President Trump over his joke about Caitlin Collins and Bud Light. Their media headlines keep calling it transphobic. Yet the same coverage repeatedly described the comparison as an attempt to demean or insult Collins by linking her to Dylan Mulvaney. So they come so close to reality, but their adherence to transgender ideology won't allow them to tell the truth about why they found it offensive." Continuing quoting her article for Daily Caller, "The ideology demands they attack Trump and the use of the approved language of transphobia, while their emotional reaction treats the comparison between Collins and Mulvaney as lowering a biological woman by association with a biological man. Trump's joke was for us. He told it in a room full of people who pretend not to get it, but their cold expressions and silence exposed how hard it truly hit. A man who had plastic surgery and is apparently on hormone replacement therapy to feminize his body can never be a woman. If Mulvaney was simply another woman, you wouldn't have heard of the joke at all. If the slogan trans women are women were taken as literal truth rather than a loyalty test, then comparing a woman to a trans man would carry no weight. What's the big deal? They're both women." Continuing to quote the article, "The fact that leftist commentators and media treated it as demeaning to Collins reveals that beneath their required affirmations, they still register Mulvaney as a male. A man on a dress, a man on cross-sex hormones, a man who has undergone facial feminization and other procedures remains a man. Our bodies cannot be rewritten. Sex is binary. No amount of estrogen, breast implants, or voice training changes the underlying reality of chromosomes, skeletal structure, or the developmental pathway that produced a male human. If they truly believed Mulvaney was a woman, the outrage wouldn't be necessary. Now, would it? Still, women are expected to pretend otherwise. They are told to notice that noticing the difference is bigotry, and protecting single-sex spaces is exclusion. The ideology demands that women rewrite their language, their boundaries, and sometimes their physical safety in service of the ideology. A woman who says, quote, "I do not want to share a changing room with a man no matter how he identifies," end quote, is labeled hateful. A female athlete who loses medal scholarships or records to a male is told to get over the loss and pretend it's a sign of our society progressing. The same ideology that insists Mulvaney is a woman also insists that any woman who refuses the premise is the problem. This is why Collins could only post vague messages about not allowing others to make you feel inferior and not hashtag Trump in it. It's also why the media outlets were only allowed to call Trump's joke transphobic and not what it was. Of course, the joke was insulting, and I agree. It was insulting. This is Trump being Trump, and I'm not always a fan. Just to be clear. But it was meant to be a roast, says the author of this piece. Still, no woman wants to be compared to a man, regardless of how much surgery or hormone therapy he's undergone. Female identity is not a costume or a feeling. When a man is held up to as equivalent or the aspirational version of womanhood, it erases that reality. It tells women their sex is optional and easily mimicked. Women know they are different from men. The media reaction confirms they know it too, but they are too cowardly to admit it. See, Trump put them in a box. They're saying, how dare you confuse Caitlin Collins with the very beautiful, glamorous model, Dylan Mulvaney? I asked Grok, go ahead and make your comments now. Send me your hateful emails now. But I asked Grok to make me a composite side by side. I asked Grok to find me the most flattering photo of Caitlin Collins and the most flattering photo of Dylan Mulvaney and put them next to each other. And I got to tell you, wholly subjective, my opinion only, but I think at this point he looks better than she does. Yep.
It's a man. It's a man.
Speaking of people in the news who have let society confirm their mental illness and do irreversible damage to their bodies, everyone is talking about Ellen Page in the movie The Odyssey playing a dude. Now, I haven't seen the movie. I probably won't see the movie until it comes to Prime or whatever. I don't know how effective she was at convincing audiences that she's a man. She's a good actress. I just don't know if she pulled this off. And I don't know if I'm the first one to think of this or to say it out loud. But you can go on Kalshi now. Go on there now and put your money down, because the Academy will nominate her for Best Supporting Actor at the end of the year. Because Hollywood never misses a chance to thumb their noses at America. They will probably give her the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. And won't that be fun? Ensuring the lowest rating Oscars telecast in history. But listen, if Ellen Page really wants to convince people she's a guy, I got some pointers for her. Here we go. Some things that Ellen Page can do to convince people she's a man. Written in the style of a Babylon Bee article. Here we go. When sitting in a chair, open your legs wide and swing them open and closed aggressively. Whenever anyone asks how you're doing, no matter how much of a crapnado your life is, say as few words as possible to get off the subject quickly. Hanging in there usually works, I find. Push guys into things and laugh like an idiot. Get a recliner. Well, one that has a built-in mini fridge right in the side. These are things Ellen Page can do to convince us she's really a man. This one will be tough. You have to whittle your use of emojis down until you're only using the thumbs up emoji. This is the universal guy emoji that covers everything. In fact, when somebody sends you a long, thoughtful text, just spilling their guts to you, just reply with the thumbs up and then never reference the context of their message. Master the subtle head nod that you and another guy that you kind of know but not really use as a crude but effective form of communication. You're passing each other in the hall and you just give them one of those. Don't know you, but I kind of do. What's up? How you doing? These are things that Ellen Page can do to convince us all that she's truly a man. Memorize that in 1974, Eric Solderholm of the Minnesota Twins was the last of 367 batters that Nolan Ryan retired that year, leading Major League Baseball in strikeouts, and then try to shoehorn it into arguments and conversations whenever possible. That's a good one. And finally, I know this will sound ironic to you, But to convince us that you're really a dude, you have to be kind of creeped out by people who've had sex changes. Welcome back to Mark Mosley Show. That's good coffee. Studies now say that you can drink up to 5 cups of coffee a day. Hang on. I got to keep pace. 5 cups of coffee a day, safe for adults, say heart experts. That's the headline. The American Heart Association has issued a new scientific statement concluding that drinking up to 5 cups of coffee a day generally safe for most healthy adults. The guidance published in the... Man, that's hitting good. Hang on. I got to finish this podcast. The guidance published in this journal Circulation is based on a review of decades of research on caffeine and cardiovascular health. Experts find that consuming up to 400 milligrams of caffeine daily, roughly the amount of 5 8-ounce cups of black coffee, is unlikely to harm the heart for the average adult. Beyond simply being safe, regular coffee consumption within this range offers protective benefits. Oh yeah! The statement links moderate coffee intake to lower risk of conditions including heart disease, stroke, heart failure, atrial fibrillation, high blood pressure, and type 2 diabetes. However, the benefits apply mainly to paper-filtered or instant coffee, and individual tolerance varies. Some people may experience side effects like sleep disruption or blood pressure increases at lower amounts. But yeah, it's just so you know, it's 5 8-ounce cups of black coffee per day, which a lot of you kids aren't going to drink black coffee. I'm old school, so that's what I drink. But yeah, that's not 6-ounce servings, and it's not 16-ounce servings. It's 8 ounces. Details matter here.
Starbucks proudly introduces the Cento Ventoto. The name means 128, as in 128 ounces of coffee. That's nearly 4.5 Trentas in a single order. Enough caffeine to power a small city. No paper cup can contain the Cento Ventoto, so it comes in a sealed metal drum. It won't fit in your cup holder. Realistically, you'll need to recline the seat, tilt the steering wheel fully upward, and carefully balance it on your lap while driving. One hard break, and you're wearing an entire gallon of scalding hot coffee. When Grande's not enough, nor Venti, nor even Trenta. Now, there's the new 128-ounce Starbucks Cento Ventoto. Try it today, and prepare not to sleep for a week.
I can't wait to get to Starbucks and get one of those. Well, this has got to be my favorite, most hilarious, most ironic headline of the week. Here it is. From Not the Bee, which the Babylon Bee, which we talk about a lot on this show, the Babylon Bee is a Christian satire website that I love. They found that over time, because satire quite often can be mistaken for truth, for actual reality, they found that they needed to create a second website called Not the Bee, where they post up articles and headlines that sound like they're made up, that sound like they're satirical, but are real. And this is one such headline from Not the Bee. Headline reads, Muslims threaten to slaughter Christian apologist family for not saying Islam is peaceful. The story, Christian apologist Michael Jones, who runs the popular YouTube channel Inspiring Philosophy, has been forced to relocate his family after receiving threats and being doxxed by people angry that he refuses to describe Islam as a peaceful religion. Not commenting on that, just reporting the news. In a recent video entitled, I Need Your Help, This is Getting Dangerous, Jones explained that he had to move his wife and young child with a second child on the way for their safety. Jones played clips from critics who told him he would have to move and accused him of provoking them by calling Islam unpeaceful. Other messages included threats of violence, statements about his wife being a concubine or making his wife a concubine, and claims of locating or showing his home address online. He said that one individual allegedly stalked him to a church in Los Angeles where he was scheduled to speak. Quote, "The irony is not lost on anyone who has more than 2 brain cells. You're proving my point," Jones remarked. He added that the threats of rape, violence, and stalking, combined with active efforts to find his real home address, left him with no choice but to move in order to keep his family safe while continuing his work online. It's wild stuff. And I fully expect to get some correspondence taking issue with the fact that I simply read this article. By the way, all religions not being equal, the Christian equivalent to threatening to kill you would be telling an atheist that you're going to pray for them, that God saves them, that God will reveal himself to them. That would be the Christian equivalent of threatening to kill you. Which brings me to this. What I don't get that's going on in our country right now is this weird alliance that's formed between hardcore progressive anarchists and hardcore Islamists. The so-called alliance between these two is one of the oddest political marriages of convenience I have seen in a long time. So on this side over here, on this side, you have the people that claim to despise, hierarchy, the male-dominated society, every religious authority, every traditional restraint on personal choice, everything Western, everything capitalist, everything male-dominated society. They're always worried that any day now we're going to be living in a theocracy, and they'll all be in the Handmaid's Tale. And on the other side sits this religion that their goal is the maintenance, the restoration of this 7th century theocratic order that is strict gender segregation, capital punishment for apostasy and sexual deviance, throwing gay people off the roofs of buildings, and subordination of women. These two things don't go together. They don't share anything in common. The only thing they share is a common enemies list. The right, Donald Trump, free speech, democracy, capitalism. Oh yeah, let's throw Israel in there. And, radical Islam is not a far left ideology, kids. It is a far right ideology. Oh my gosh. On the left, you have anarchism and fans of anarchism, fans of defund the police, no law enforcement. We shouldn't have any rules. These two things don't go together. And if a day comes when your alliance achieves ultimate control of the American society, just know that one of these two groups will slaughter the other one as soon as is convenient, just like Mao did to the Red Guard. But it's like, if I can use this visual, put the picture up on the screen. This is the ideological version of the marriage of Jelly Roll and Bunny XO. I don't get it. We'll be right back with our doofus of the week and some good news.
And now, Shallow Thoughts by Al Ibril.
Why is everyone complaining that Dr. Fauci isn't answering any questions? He's the science, and you're not supposed to question the science. The logic is perfectly circular.
Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines. Help all the people who have been quarantined. We'll wear our masks and we'll have to stay distant. We'll wash our hands and we'll be more resistant. Fauci, yes? Promise us, please. We'll have a cure that can fight off this disease. Restrictions will lift with some ease. Dr. Fauci, don't forget me.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah, we could have done the whole show on Anthony Fauci. We really could have. There's just so much material there. Anthony Fauci, you're our big stupid doofus of the week. You didn't know to work with your lawyer who lawyer, by the way, got kicked out of the room. That was excellent. That was awesome when they kicked the lawyer out. You didn't, there wasn't any chance for you to meet with your lawyer and come up with some answers? You had all the answers in the world back in the day. Now suddenly you got nothing. But anyway, our runner-up to Anthony Fauci being our big stupid doofus of the week is Cheyenne Dwiggins in LaPel, Indiana. Cops have arrested Cheyenne Dwiggins for shoplifting a variety of items, an eclectic variety of items from Bowers Market grocery store. She should have shoplifted a belt to hold her pants up. Otherwise, you know, if she had, she might not have gotten caught. But she was trying to leave the store, and Cheyenne's pants weighed down from all the stuff that she had, all the extra junk in the trunk there. Her pants fell down around her ankles. Store employees became suspicious when she went to the register. They could clearly see, I mean, maybe stretch pants wasn't the right, maybe that wasn't the right choice to make. They could clearly see bulges in her pants. And so then the store owner tried to stop her from walking out. Cheyenne tried to run, and her pants slid down, all the stuff falling out onto the floor, but it slowed her down enough for the owner to be able to tackle her. The cops got there and found the following items: a potato peeler, an ice cream scoop, a set of measuring spoons, 2 cake decorating gel tubes. I suspect someone's birthday was coming up. And 6 Rolo candy bars in her pants. She was arrested and taken to jail where, oh no, only when she got to jail and they searched her did police later discover she had on her person a hidden can of strawberry Nesquik. No need to go into further detail there. Oh, and by the way, Cheyenne, did I mention earlier the best part? Cheyenne wasn't wearing any underwear when her pants came down. So it not only revealed the booty she tried to leave the store with, it revealed the booty that she came in with. Congratulations, Cheyenne Dwiggins. You're our big stupid doofus of the week. You're a big stupid doofus. Now you are. Well, let's wrap up the show now with some good news. Good news. We always like to leave you on a high note because we spend so much time here just depressing the heck out of everybody, and then we bring it all home with some good news. And this is another story of the everyday hero, the one who sees danger and acts. Yes, it's still in our world. We've had a couple of stories kind of in the same vein in recent weeks. And this is just like the kid, I think, from last week that saved a guy from drowning. Here's another story, and it comes to us from China, where something remarkable happened. Near a quiet bridge, a group of friends were chatting when a cry went out. Someone had jumped into the river, or they thought fallen into the river. Most everybody froze. One woman did not. Liu Defang kicked off her shoes, and without a second thought, she dove in after him, even though she had only learned to swim recently. Yet there she was, stroking through the current toward a struggling figure. When she got to him, she discovered it was not a child, as she had feared, but a grown man. And he was fighting her. resisting the rescue because, as it turned out, he had jumped on purpose. He was trying to end it all. But she held on, and for nearly half an hour, she battled the current and his resistance to save him with some help from the people on the bank. Someone threw a life preserver. Both of them were finally pulled to safety. Then, soaked and exhausted, she just walked away, disappeared into the crowd that had gathered. No interviews, no posing for media, no cameras. She just went on about her day. She slipped into the crowd, hoping no one would make a fuss. But the traffic cameras captured it all, and police eventually released the footage because they were hoping to recognize the Good Samaritan. Well, her own brother saw it on TV, and of course his immediate reaction was, "What the heck were you thinking? Why didn't you think of the consequences? How dare you do this?" Well, Liu Defang just shrugged. She's a fitness enthusiast who practices yoga, and also a woman that believes life is precious, too precious to give up on so easily. So Liu Defang instinctively jumped in to save the life of a man bigger than her, stronger than her, and half her age. Because Liu Defang is 71 years old. And her story reminds us that the years do not have to diminish our strength or our purpose in this world. With a willing heart, even later in life, we can still be useful to bring life to others. As the Bible says in Psalm 92:14, they will still bear fruit in old age. They will stay fresh and green. And that's the show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing to me on YouTube at Mark Mosley Show. And until next time, may God bless you with health, joy, and wisdom.